Audio check 1 2 3. Another audio check because I wasn't listening out for the first one. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Motive for tonight's GT3 Championship Round 5 here of Season 4 on the PlayStation 5. We are here at Monza, as you probably can recognise for tonight's action. Monza's been the host of actually the season opener quite a few times here at Motive. It's also been the season finale, I think, once or twice. But we're here tonight for round 5 of an 8-round season here tonight for Tiers 2 and obviously Tier 1 a little bit later on. We've currently got 15 drivers on the track. I'm hoping we should have 17, fingers crossed, by the time we get to the end of this qualifying session, or at least by the start of the race. I think we're expecting Russ the Rebel to jump in, and fingers crossed the funny looking guy will also be in as well for the start of the race. So we should hopefully have us, as I said, 17 drivers here for Tier 2. For Tier 1 later on, we're expecting I think 17 or 18. So yeah, we should have a decent turnout here tonight. It shouldn't be too bad. Should be well over 30 drivers here racing across both tiers. But nonetheless, we're here tonight for what should be a great night of action here. Monza's usually favours the faster cars, the ones who are quick in a straight line. So the BMW, I think, is going to be quite strong here. I'd say maybe the McLaren might suffer a little bit potentially. The Mercedes should be quite good as well, actually, for totally zero. Yeah, it should be. Well, actually, no, he's in the McLaren. He's not in the Mercedes. So sorry, scratch that. I'm just on autopilot there for a second for some reason, and this is a weird glitch on the game, and I don't know why it does this, but if you look in the top left corner, you can see it actually does say Mercedes number 4. But if you actually look very carefully, if you actually open your eyes and look rather than just assume what you're being told, you can actually see that it's a McLaren, and it's a number 8, so it's not actually Mercedes number 4. That's actually a fib. And if you actually open your eyes and look, you can see quite clearly there for your own eyes that it is actually a McLaren number 8. So nonetheless, we are here for tonight's action. We've currently got Codlingo on provisional pole position, doing a great time there in that number 83 BMW, as there seems to be somebody speeding down the pit lane here, because somebody went absolutely powering past him there as he came to the exit of the pits. But he's only, well, he's qualifying actually, so it's a bit dodgy. But yeah, anyway, so Codlingo currently setting the fastest time. He's got currently just over a tenth of a second over Exeron. You've got Snoopy, who's done the 3rd fastest time, followed by Nath J. Fletch, who's 4th, Luke Van der Street's in 5th, and Jill Silver in 6th. Only 4/10 of a second covering the top 6 drivers, so it's really close. As I say, that Spur time's just done a time good enough for 7th place. He goes just over half a second off for the fastest time, so that's a solid lap time there from Spur time. So he's getting himself sort of closer to the cutting edge here. Fierce Mars sits in 8th place at the moment, just ahead of Shark Azulu. You've got Totally Zero in P10, and then Erico's just over a second off of the pace, ahead of Carl Marley, with Tunde in 13th in this qualifying session. Chris M and DGR Remster still yet to set lap times here in this qualifying session right now. We're hoping to have a couple more drivers here, guys, for this Tier 2 race. Fingers crossed we should have a funny looking guy, and maybe, well, Diego. I don't know where Diego is actually, because Diego, he was the winner obviously a couple of weeks ago. Wasn't here last week when we raced. Obviously when we raced at Misano, but he was here a couple of weeks ago. Was a dominant race winner at Watkins Glen, and even raced in the Tier 1 race as a cameo, and managed to do a very, very strong job there as well. So yeah, a bit strange that Diego obviously can't be here tonight for whatever reason. Hasn't sort of handed in his apologies, hasn't said anything, so yeah, not quite sure really what's going on there. But nonetheless, hopefully we'll see him. But I don't think we are. I don't think we're going to be. It's likely that we're going to be seeing him at this point. We did see, obviously, Russ the Rebel did confirm he'd be racing and isn't here. Also, funny looking guy said he'd try and make it, but he said he might be joining for the race rather than qualifying. So we'll have to see. But Codlingo, your provisional pole sitter, coming over the line. Does he improve on his lap time? Not at the moment. He's still sat on the top spot though, obviously on a 1:49.8. Exeron's just coming through the Curva Grande. You've got Snoopy just behind Exeron actually on the track. Nath J. Fletch just coming into the Curva Grande, so lots of drivers going through the first sector at this point. Shark Azuli's currently in the pits. What about Luke Van der Streets? He's going into Ascari at the moment, so let's ride with Luke Van der Streets here. And the number 7 BMWs is coming through out of Ascari now, down the back straight, which leads down towards the Parabolica. I think he's just not got enough time here to do 2 more laps, so this will be, no, he will be able to do 2 more laps. He won't be able to do 3 more laps, so it's going to be 2 more runs after this one that he's currently on. But Luke Van der Street's here through the Parabolica, and let's see what he's able to put on the board here. He's just going to get over the line a little bit too late to get 2 more runs in after this one. But here he comes up towards the line. What is it going to be for Luke van der Streets? Here he comes. Doesn't improve, stays in P6 for the time being. Erico currently sat in the pits, so he's currently not going to be improving at any point at any time soon. Codalinga is just coming under the old circuit into Ascari. Exeron's just on the exit of Ascari. Let's see what Exeron can do here. Can he find just over a tenth of a second? Not much really to Codalungu, so he hasn't really got to find a whole load of time here as he's coming through into the Parabolica now. Obviously taking a wide entry there, almost onto the paint on the outside. You really want to be as wide as you can to carry as much speed on the entry as you possibly can. Here comes Exeron up towards the line. What is it going to be for him as he crosses over now? He doesn't improve, stays in second place, and no changes there for him. Snoopy just coming into the final corner. Codalungu, your provisional pole sitter over the line. Can he improve on a 49.8? He does improve fractionally, not by much at all. He improves by half a tenth of a second, so not really much of a change there. Snoopy up towards the line. Can he move up from third place? No, he can't. Stays in third at this point in time. Sharkazuda's coming out of Ascari. He's currently fifth place. Only got to find 3/10 though, so it's a very close pecking order here. But he seems to be warming the tyres up there. It's coming down the back straight, so he's not currently on an improvement at this point. As we've got Kev Sim and Zillabang there in the comments. Good luck, guys, says Kev Sim. Zillabang says, hi, guys, BMW is the car then. I think so, yeah, by the looks of it. So anybody there who's picked the Beamer for this season is definitely on to a bit of a winner. Zillabang is actually Error Code, who's driving in the Audi tonight. The Audi doesn't seem to have too much of an answer to the Beamer. Sharksuda currently the fastest driver in the Audi, as he's P5, can't improve on his fastest lap time that last time around there, but obviously stays in P5 for the time being. But Codalungu is just gradually stepping up his pace over the course of this session. He's been sort of bringing that time down a little bit. His last lap was an improvement by about a tenth of a second. Can he continue that momentum here and continue to dip closer to the mid 149s here as he comes through Ascari? You've got Exeron currently in the pits. Luke van der Streets is as well. So is Error Code. Snoopy's just coming into Ascari. You've got Nath J. Fletch going down the back straight here, down towards the Parabolica as he comes through now. So here comes Nath J. Fletch out of the last corner up towards the line. What is he going to be able to put on the board here? Currently P4 in this session, and he stays P4, so no changes there for him thus far. Snoopy here out of the final corner. What can he do here? Is Codalungu's coming over the line? Does he improve? No. Provisional pole sitter stays on a 49.7. Snoopy over the line. What is it going to be for him? Can he find 2/10 of a second? Not at the moment, he can't. So no changes here from the top five. Fierce Mars has gone into 8th place, moves ahead of spur time, gets himself within half a second of the provisional pole time. So it's a very close qualifying session here, and generally you don't expect anything else at Monza because there's not really a whole load of room for error. You know, there's only 11 corners on the whole circuit, and a lot of it's straights. Although saying that, you know, you have to be very precise. You have to positioning is everything, and traction out of the corners is absolutely key. So you know there are places where you can make the time up, but the lap times are generally quite close. So the best will always find the time, but yeah, it's just about where you can extract it, and there's not really many places where you can gain a huge amount. But Codalungu is still your man on provisional pole at the moment, and then as we're coming towards the end of the session, we've hit the checkered flag, so the drivers on laps can finish their laps, but apart from that, it's pretty much as it is in front of us right now. But obviously everybody pretty much has started the lap, so Nath J. Fletcher I think will be the first driver over the line as he's coming out of Ascari down towards the Parabolica now. Nath's had a solid couple of seasons here at Motive. Has been with us since season 3, just like pretty much everybody here, because that season 3 was where we had the big expansion where we added a second tier, and obviously this season hasn't been as great in terms of numbers as last season was. Last season I think we hit our peak. I mean, my workload has kind of dropped, if I'm honest with you. The amount of effort that I was putting in last season was insane compared to this season. I really need to step it up personally, and also I want to apologise to the guys for not having the standings up to date, because I've really lapsed into I think just not the greatest of habits recently. I just haven't really been keeping up to date with the admin and standings, and just I'm not putting in as much effort as a coordinator as I was last season, and I need to sort it out, and I will be sorting out, and the standings will be up to date by tomorrow or by Tuesday at the latest. I'll be getting the standings up to date for both the GT3 Championships on Sundays and the Sprint League on a Wednesday, but I need to get on top of that, guys, and I will do it, and I want to apologise, as I have done on Discord and also on the stream as well, because it's not good enough. It is simply not good enough, and I need to get on top of that because I've set a precedent and I need to keep that up. You know, ultimately we're all here to race and we're all here to know who we're battling, and it's not good enough, simply not good enough, and I will aim, and I do aim, and I will simply do better. But that is that then for the qualifying session here. Codlungu taking the pole time here by just under 0.2 of a second ahead of Exeron. You got Snoopy and Nath who will line up on the second row. Sharky Zulu only 0.08 of a second behind Nath in fifth, with Luke Van der Streets in sixth. Jill Silverin and Fierce Mars completing the top 8, half a second between the top 8. It's incredibly close here. Spur Time and Totally Zero in 9th and 10th, both within 0.8 of a second of the provisional pole time. Carl Marley in 11th with Erico 12th, followed by Tunde in 13th place, Remster 14th, Chris M in 15th, and I think we're going to have 15 drivers here for Tier 2 tonight. I believe we're expecting 17 or 18 for Tier 1, so hopefully everybody turns up. But yeah, I think we're going to be without a funny looking guy, and I don't think we're going to be getting Rust Rebel in either, so I think this is our lot here for the Tier 2s here. Out on track in front of us right now, as we're just getting ready to go racing here for the first race of the night. Obviously the Tier 2s always kicks off the evening. Tier 1s, the main event of the evening, comes up at about 8:30 p.m. Server for Tier 1 is already sorted, so I don't have to remember to reset the server, which is great because I often forget to do that, and that's never ideal. It's always a bit embarrassing that usually one of the Tier 1 guys has to comment on the stream and remind me to do it, but obviously tonight we've already done it, so we haven't got to worry about that, which is great. So obviously that's one box ticked, which is a bit of a relief. But I've got a few comments here coming in now. 30k saying hi 6/10 wasted, he says. Well, 6/10, that would have put you, I think, P2 Totally Zero, so that's absolutely gutting. But it's a 1 hour long race, and there's a pit stop, and there's plenty of variables to throw into the mix, so you're certainly not all over yet. There's still an entire race distance to cover here. Glenn says in the comments, good luck racers this evening, we'll watch from the stands. Glenn obviously not racing tonight. He is a Tier 1 racer, but he will not be out on track tonight, unfortunately, as his internet is playing up, so he will not be taking part in the action, but certainly watching from afar with great interest by the sounds of it. Jill Silverin says, let's go guys, good luck. Jill Silverin starting in P7 here for the Tier 2s tonight. It'd be interesting to see where it can get from there with it being so close in the qualifying session. Tony 0K says good luck as well. Also Zilla Bang in the comments, my car's full tank, so I'm braking early for turn 1. Yeah, I think everybody's in the same boat there, mate. I think everybody is going to be doing exactly the same thing. Obviously Monza, as we all know, in public lobbies is a bit of a recipe for disaster. We've lost a driver here. Somebody's retired. Somebody's left the session. What's happened here? That's a bit strange. Would be Chris is retired. Hopefully Chris can get himself back in before the end of the formation lap here, because that's, I mean, 14 drivers. It's not great, but yeah. Oh god. Right then, we've got 11 guys watching here in the stream. Guys, if you are enjoying, please do smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as we're getting ready to go for the first race of the night. The Tier 2s out on track here at Automotive. I think we've got only 14 here because it does appear that Chris has left the session. I'm not quite sure why. We've got Robo in the comments, Robert Rodonsky there, last season's champion in this Tier 2 division, saying good luck. Obviously he'll be racing in Tier 1 later on as well, as he did get promotion up into Tier 1, obviously being the champion of Tier 2 last season. We're not going to make him cut his teeth in Tier 2 for 2 seasons in a row, not when he's got the pace to compete in Tier 1 as he has done throughout the course of this season so far. I don't know whether we're going to be getting Chris back in. Hopefully we can, because again, the numbers are not really there. So I had to pull out. Ping was in the red and didn't want to risk it. Sounds like the GT UK boys are struggling with their internets tonight. Alright then, here we come. Down towards Parabolica. About to go racing here for round 5 of the Tier 2 Championship here at Motive for the GT3s. Bit of a depleted field. I think there's about 5 people who couldn't make it here tonight, something like that. Again, if you are interested, if you race on ACC, as long as you've got a safety rating of 60 or above and you're on PlayStation 5, feel free to jump in and see what we got here, because the racing is very clean and competitive. And we've got leagues on Sundays and Wednesdays as well. But here we come, out onto the start-finish straight now. Codlunga will be the pole sitter here. His first pole position in a very long time here at Automotive. Can he now manage? Can he now back that up with a P1 in the race? Be too late for me to come back now and see what happens. This goes Chris. Well, here we go, coming over the line. So we are now underway here. So Codlunga doesn't get a great start actually, and Exeron got a much better one, but also on the inside Snoopy got a better start than both of them here, 3 wide. In fact, maybe not, because it looks like Codlunga's got a bit of overspeed here coming down towards turn 1. Now Snoopy looks to the outside here. He's going to try and go around the outside of Cod, but he goes deep there, and Snoopy there has to go over the sleeping policeman there on the exit of the first chicane. So it's Codlunga leading the race. Where is Snoopy going to filter out in all this? He's going to filter out in P2, I think. So Cod here holds on to the lead. There's Exeron in 3rd place, just ahead of Nate J. Fletch. Sharka Zulu, what's happened to him? He's dropped down the field. So Sharka Zulu's had a moment there coming to the first chicane here on lap 1, and he's down to the back of the pack by the looks of it here, as we've got a move being shaped up here. Nath is looking to the outside here on Exeron in towards the De La Roja chicane, but he has to tuck in for the time being, so it's as you were between those guys. They're ahead of Luke Van der Streets, who's ahead of Jill Silverin. Somebody's wide there on the exit of the De La Roja chicane. Who's that? Somebody's off onto the gravel there. It's a McLaren there that got it horribly wrong. Was it Tunde? I think it might have been. It was Tunde there who got it very wide, and he's now lost out to everybody, so he's down to P14 here on the first lap of the race. Disaster there for Tunde, but it's currently Codlunga leading ahead of Snoopy, with Exeron 3rd, followed by Nate J. Fletcher, and these 4 are breaking away a little bit from everybody else as they're coming underneath the old circuit down towards Ascari, as Exeron really having to defend here from Nath coming into Ascari at the moment. There is Luke Van der Street just behind them, ahead of Jill Silverin, followed by Carl Marley, who's got totally zero behind him, as Tunde there has dropped down to 14th place with that mistake coming out of De La Rocha chicane, which has cost him a load of places, and that's going to be extremely frustrating for him here. But Codlunga leading ahead of Snoopy here down towards Parabolica. You've got Nath is now ahead of Exeron, so Nath must have made the move there through Ascari. So Nath J. Fletch, in fact, is he? Yeah, he is. So he's on the back of Snoopy now. So Nath J. Fletch really has made a firing start to this race. He's now right on the back of our P2 man here, who is Snoopy, as they're coming over the line here to complete the first lap. You can see there Nath now looking to the inside. Snoopy's just going to try and out drag him here down the straight. It's BMW versus BMW. It's a BMW 1-2-3 here at Monza. It's got so much straight line speed here tonight. It's clear to see, as Nath looking down the inside here of Snoopy into the first chicane, and he's going to have that one done there. Nath J. Fletch up into 2nd place. Snoopy not getting a great run there out of the first chicane. Maybe Exeron might fancy his chances here as they're coming through the Curva Grande, but he's going to have to tuck in for the time being, because the McLaren does not have the pace over the BMW. He's going to have to probably force him into a mistake if it's possible to do so. But he's looking to the inside here in towards the narrow chicane. Is he going to be able to go for the move? No, because Snoopy goes later on the brakes there, and he's going to hold on to that one quite comfortably there. Goes a little bit deep, but gets it turned in nicely. As you can see them all filing through your shot there. There's Totally Zero in the foreground ahead of Spur Time, Remster, Fierce Mars, with Shark Zulu, Tunde and Error Code at the back of the pack right now in 14th place. Not the greatest of turnouts here tonight, but ultimately big hats off to the guys who are here tonight. Thank you everybody who's turned up, and yeah, you guys are absolute legends. We will try and do a bit of promotion, just share a little bit, share some clips on TikTok, try and get some clean racers who have obviously got SA ratings of 60 or above, because you can't join the server otherwise. But yeah, essentially we're going to get a few more people in. We're going to hopefully fill up the grid and get the tier 2s rolling like they were in the early part of the season. But Codlingu's got just over a second here of a gap over Nath J. Fletch, so obviously Nath though in second place now in clean air can now try and chase down our race leader. In the background here we've got Snoopy, who's lost a few places here, and he's now got Luke van der Street sticking down his inside as well, as in fact no, that's Jill Silver in there making a move on Snoopy. So Jill Silver in there moving ahead of Snoopy, and Snoopy's lost about 4 places in the last lap or so. He has had a nightmare here on lap 2. I'm not quite sure what has happened to him, but he's fallen backwards here. Racky in the comments saying good evening all. Too bad Chris wanted to do a shout out. Matty Pitt says this is not F122 mind, and okay, that boy, yeah, well, it's a very different kettle of fish. It's a bit more of a simulator, you know. There's a less arcadey, but also probably a bit harder to drive, because it replicates real life, unlike the F1 game, which is not really supposed to be similar to real life. I mean, it does in points. The F1 game is supposed to be authentic and I think immersive is probably the word, but certainly not realistic. But yeah, nonetheless, Matty Pitt obviously is our coordinator and one of our admins here at Motive. He runs our F1 league on a Friday night and does a great job with keeping everything all Gucci day to day in the F1 league. Tunde seems to be dropping off at the back of the pack a little bit here. Error Code's been into the pits at the end of lap 2, so he's coming for a very early pit stop. So he's probably just full tanking it. I would imagine he's not going to be changing tyres at this stage. There'd be no gain whatsoever to come out with 2 lap fresher tyres. So he's obviously gone for a quick splash and dash, and he's off and out and ready to roll once again. But I'll tell you what, Nath J. Fletch, he took absolutely. Well, he didn't waste any time getting ahead of, what was it, X-Roll and Luke van der Streets, and he's now on the back of Codlingu as well. So he's now really putting the pressure on our race leader as they're coming out of the Parabolica, and he's going to probably be able to make the move here down the start-finish straight. As we see that these two are side by side, we've got a tighter line coming out of the Parabolica, but it doesn't seem to have cost him any at all as they're coming down the start-finish straight now. Looking down towards turn 1, is Nath going to be able to go for this move? Codlingu's lifting a space on the inside as Cod just edging ahead here into the braking zone. Nath thinks better of it for the time being, doesn't want to risk it as he was just over a car length behind, and that would have been a bit of a ballsy move to go for from there. Codlingu holding on to the lead for the time being. Nath J. Fletch though keeping him on his toes here. These guys a couple of seconds clear of Exeron, who's in 3rd place. You've got Luke van der Street out of Jill Silver, and followed by Snoopy in P6, who seems to have calmed down after losing a load of places on the previous lap. So you look at everybody else there going through the Curva Grande right now. Error Code there running in 14th place, has not had the race at all here tonight, that's for sure. But obviously with an early pit stop he can come back into it. There's still plenty of time left in this race as Nath J. Fletcher gets to the outside here on Codlingu. This is for the race lead. Cod defending the inside, going through Lesmo 1. Can Nath get a cut back here into Lesmo 2? No, he's not going to be able to. He's going to have to wait patiently here for this one, Nath J. Fletch. But as I said before, he went from 5th to 2nd place in the first couple of laps and has done absolute bits here to get onto the back of Codlingu. Here we come down towards the Ascari chicane. He's just a little bit too far away just at the moment. He'll be looking to try and make a move shortly into the Parabolica, if not the first chicane. But opportunities are going to be presenting himself here for Nath J. Fletch. We don't know what the strategy is in terms of who's going to be running high fuel, who's going to be not changing tyres. This is all going to play a hand in how the result of this race pans out. But Nath J. Fletch here still on the back of Codlingu. Down towards Parabolica we go. Codlingu's got the run at the moment and is holding on to that position. Exeron there running in 3rd place. Couple of seconds back to Luke van der Streets, who's running in 4th, as we see Snoopy looking to the outside here on Jill Silver into the Parabolica. Is he going to be able to swoop around him? No, he's not. Jill Silver in to keep it onto that one, but Cole Marley putting the pressure here on Snoopy, and that will only hasten Snoopy's haste really to get ahead of Jill Silverman as they're coming down the start finish straight. You can see here now Snoopy's got a bit of a run, looking to the outside. Jill Silverman defends the line as they're coming down towards the first chicane. Here we go, and Snoopy now has got himself slightly ahead of Jill Silverman. Jill Silverman was onto the grass there as they came down towards the first chicane. Snoopy now turns in and gets the move done there on Jill Silverman, and he's up into 5th place. There is Snoopy, so beautifully done there from him. As let's go back to the leaders, because Nath J. Fletcher is still all over Codlunga as they're coming through the Curva Grande down towards the Delaware chicane to come once again. He's still just a little bit too far back at the moment as these two still just trading lap times at this point. Exeron there in 3rd ahead of Luke van der Streets as obviously now Snoopy showing up in P5 ahead of Jill Silverman. Somebody's gone straight on there on the exit of the Delaware chicane. Who was that? Somebody's got completely missed it. That was Jill Silverman there who went straight on, and he has to let Snoopy back through there. Carl Marley's still behind him at the moment as what's happened there to Snoopy? Snoopy's gone deep there coming through Lesmo 1. Jill Silverman's going to get him here into Lesmo 2. So Snoopy there making a bit of a mistake there. Maybe he was put off a little bit by having to go around the outside of Jill Silverman. Now Carl Marley has got a totally zero all over him, and Carl Marley's looking to get a run here on Jill Silverman down towards Ascari, looking around the outside here, and he's got that one done as Carl Marley. Maybe Totally Zero is going to follow him through as well. Yes, he does. Totally Zero now looking to the inside of Carl Marley and gives him a bit of a tap there, and they just get away with it. Totally Zero gave him a real good walloping there. In fact, no, he hasn't got away with it because Carl Marley's got it wrong there coming for Ascari, and was the catalyst for that? Maybe Totally Zero knock him in the rear there. Carl Marley is in the wall and he's got damage there on the front of the car. Potentially that knock from Totally Zero going into the braking zone caused him to lose it. Totally Zero could be in a bit of trouble for that one if Carl Marley puts in a steward's inquiry there. Jill Silverman's now got spur time all over the back of him here with Fierce Mars and Shark Zoom on the back of these guys. They're coming out of the Parabolica here to complete lap 5, but yeah, I would say Carl Marley's got every right to be a bit aggrieved with that one, because I think he did get a bit of encouragement there from Totally Zero as they came into Ascari. That's going to be a point of contention there for him as spur time looking down the inside of Totally Zero, and he tags him in the rear there. In the background, Jill Silverman and also Fierce Mars coming together there. So there's been a bit of a pile up here. Shark Zulu also involved, and what's going on here as we see the Audi there making its way through. Sorry, not the Audi, even the McLaren of Toonday, should I say, making its way through. Carl Marley in the pits, no surprise there, coming in for an early pit stop after that collision there with Totally Zero. Was it a collision with Totally Zero, or did he make a mistake independent after that collision going into Ascari? That's the question that I'm wondering at this point. Obviously we'll find out a little bit later on, but in the meantime the battle at the front between Codlunga and Nath J. Fletch seems to be neutralised a little bit here. Codlunga's just got the edge of him at the moment. You can see the gap is quite consistent at the best part of a second, but Nath is keeping Codlunga on his toes at this point. And I tell you what, whilst these two run close, it's allowing Exeron to actually creep out a little bit closer here. Exeron's now only 2.2 off for the race lead, so he could definitely be a contender for this race victory as well. These three have pulled a little bit clear of Luke van der Streets, who's running in 4th place at this stage. Snoopy is a little way behind. He's clear of spur time, running in P6. He's got Totally Zero ahead of him now, so Totally Zero has actually got ahead of spur time up into P6, and that must have happened somewhere through the middle sector here. So there's Totally Zero, and there is spur time. Bit of a gap back to Jill Silverman, who's running in 8th place. He's a little way clear of Fierce Mars, who seems to have had a battered up BMW there. So he has been through the shredder by the looks of it. Seems to have really had a bit of a nightmare somewhere. I think that was to do with the whatever went off in the first chicane. That's a byproduct of that one. As Shark Zulu here pulling up onto the back of Toonday here. So how have these two ended up together? I don't know, to be honest. As Shark Zulu into the pits here at the end of lap 6, so he's getting some damage repaired, I think, by the looks of it. Cod and Nath there going through the Delaware chicane. If you've got Exeron still in the background there in 3rd place. There's Luke van der Streets there running in P4. But Nath still keeping Cod on his toes at the moment as they're going through Lesmo 1. You can see here Nath is still bringing the smoke to him at the moment, but Codlunga's done a really good job, obviously starting on pole position, has just held the lead since the get-go, really hasn't sort of dithered around or made any mistakes. He's just been consistent as anything, and it's great to see Codlunga back on top spot here in a league race at Motive. Obviously he was a contender in the GT4s a long time ago when we used to run the GT4s on the PlayStation 4. That was back when PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 played together on the only version of ACC that existed on PlayStation. Obviously, nowadays the PS5 version is really where it's at for us, to be honest. But yeah, pretty much Codalungu doing exactly what we used to be used to seeing him do. And recently, obviously, he got the PS5 and the PS5 version of ACC a little bit different, you know, with setups and drivability and everything. But he seems to now be very much up to speed with the game on the PlayStation 5. And he's currently keeping a gap to Nathan just over a second. So he's being pretty consistent at this stage. Oh, and Shaka Zulu has picked up a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits. So he's coming to the pits to get some damage repaired. And he's absolutely destroyed his race even more here, so Chaka Zulu will have to come in and do a stop-go penalty. He'll have to drive through the pit, stop in his box for 30 seconds before he can even think about getting going again. And that is going to cost him, I think, probably a few places by the time we get to the end of this race. We'll have to see by the time we get round to the pit window, but yeah, that's going to be a real cork in the bottle there for him. There's Cod's gap to Nath just over a second as they've got extra on there running in the background. They're in third place. There's Luke Van der Streets running in fourth, a few seconds clear of Snoopy at the moment. He's got a further 5 seconds back to Totally Zero, who's got spur time on the back of him. Oh, it's in the background. Jill Silver in there, running into the wall. Got a little bit onto the gravel there, going out of the De La Rocha chicane, and that's going to drop him further back into the clutches of Fierce Mars there, who's running, just coming into Lesmo 1. He's coming up to put a lap on Carl Marley there, who's currently running in 14th in this race. Lots of drama at this point. Codalungu still leading the race by just a second and a half here over Nath. Down to 13 runners in this race, so it looks like we've lost. Oh, we lost. Can't work it out because it's not somebody who was down the rear of the pack. Ah, we lost Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu's retired. Okay. Shaka Zulu was running in P12. He's now out of the race, so obviously doesn't feel like doing that stop-go penalty. By the looks of it, fair play. I guess, can't really blame you. Know that feeling. But Cody on the exit of Ascari coming down the this back straight. He's obviously on lap 9 of the race. Got just over 2 seconds here over Nath. We've got Andrew in the comments here saying, let's go, and how's it going, everyone? Good, mate. Good to see you. How you doing? Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you're enjoying the action here out on track. As we're just coming round here to complete lap 9 of this Tier 2 race. Still the relatively early stages here of this evening. Currently Codalungu doing what I think it's back to the old Codalungu that we used to know, doing what Codalungu does very well indeed, leading the race from the front. Obviously was on pole, as we said before, in qualifying, and has just bossed things really in the early stages. And Nath was closing in at one point, but I think Cod now is just getting that consistency going, and Nath maybe just falling back into the clutches of Extron ever so slightly at this stage. These guys well clear of Luke Van der Streets. I think it's a 3-horse race for this win. But who's it going to be out of Cod, Nath and Extron? Obviously Cod at this point definitely looking like he is the favour it. Oh boy. Andrew says, good mate, looking forward to the race. Hopefully don't get caught up in anything for once. Oh mate, that would be ideal, wouldn't it? Easier said than done though, especially around a circuit like Monza. You never know what's going to happen around Monza. You can have you can have a server full of clean drivers, but is everybody going to fit into that first chicane? That's the question. You just never know what's around the corner at Monza. But it should be alright though. I mean, it's been pretty decent for the tier 2s for the most part. It was a clean first lap actually, very clean first lap. They're obviously a bit spread out now, obviously because everybody's pace is everybody's sort of found their position and are now pulling away from each other a little bit. Still a lot to be said though in terms of strategy, because we don't know who's going to be half tanking it, who's going to be full tanking it. Those who are full tanking it and running on the same tyres will have much shorter pit stops, but they'll also have less pace towards the end as well. So all of these things will kind of come into play. But those obviously who are on light tanks for the first part of the race will have the pace at this stage and probably an advantage, which will be negated slightly actually in the final part of the race. So again, it all balances out. But Monza's a track where you wouldn't imagine a tyre change would be that lucrative. It's certainly a track where I could picture a lot of people rolling the dice and going for that full tank strategy. But again, it all just depends. And obviously we're just going to find out. And that's basically the upshot of it, is we're going to find out over the course of a race distance. But Codalunga here with a 3-second gap right now over Nathan, looking more and more comfortable here. Codalunga is just getting into the zone. He is really getting into this race. It just seems like every lap that goes by he's gaining confidence. He's continuing to pull out this gap to Nathan at this point, as Fierce Mars is in the pits here at the end of lap 10. So he's coming in for a relatively early pit stop here. So here we are then, lap 12 of the Tier 2 race here, for round 5 of the GT3 Championship Automotive here for Season 4 currently. Error Code, Fierce Mars, Tunde and Carmali have all been into the pits so far in this race. Everybody else has got to come in still. We've lost a couple of drivers here from the race. Chris retired on the first lap, and obviously we lost Shark Azulu as well. A few drivers didn't turn up tonight as well, so it was a bit of a depleted grid already, but 13 currently left here for this Tier 2 event. Got Kangi in the comments here saying, like button smashed, have a great race tonight everyone in both tiers. Kangi, obviously we're expecting to see out on track for Tier 1 later on. Looking forward to seeing him. Looking forward to seeing the Tier 1 driver out on track as always as well. I think the grid hopefully should be somewhere between 18 and 20. I think we're expecting to see. Obviously we had 15 here for tier 2, so 35 drivers across both tiers. I'll take that. That'd be okay. It's not too bad. So it makes it worth having 2 tiers. If you have more than 30, it makes it worth having 2 tiers. So we've got Tunde currently on the back of Carl Marley here as they're coming down towards the Parabolica. This is the battle for 11th and 12th places. In fact, Tunde's actually... No, he's behind him still. And Jill Silverin's just coming out to lap them as well. So Jill Silverin obviously... So it's a bit... Oh no, there's been a collision there between Tunde and Jill Silverin. Or did Tunde help himself round? I'm not quite sure. But Tunde here getting it going once again. Jill Silverin continues on his merry way there. As Tunde gets it going once again. Noticing here at the front, Codlingu leading the race still, as he's just had to negotiate some traffic, that is error code here. He's just in front actually of Nath now. So Nath there pulling out and getting past him without any dramas particularly. Good to see error code there, obliging the blue flags. They're all in the midst of a bit of traffic here, so both Codlingu and Nath are going to lose a bit of time here. But obviously because they're both losing time relative to each other, it's not going to make any difference. But Cod here making his way through. That's our Spur Time there, who's putting a lap on. Spur Time has had an absolute nightmare in this race, very unlike Spur Time. He's had some really strong showings recently at Watkins Glen and also at the Hungara Ring and the Misano. I can't remember what he did at Misano now, actually. It's gone from my mind almost. I really can't tell you. It's almost gone. But I just remember Hungara Ring, he drove an absolute cracker. Was it Misano? What did he do at Misano? Was it? Oh god, I can't. Oh no, it's completely gone from my memory. Do you know what? I've just, my brain's like a sieve at the moment. I just don't know what's going on. But he could have won the race for. Oh, he didn't win because it was Jill Silver, and I do remember that. I do know that. Yeah, he did. He drove a brilliant race last week, did Spur Time. He came second in the race at Misano. I knew he'd had a really strong last few weeks. I mean, he's really come of age in this season. You know, last season was so-so, but this season he's been really strong, consistent podium finishes. And I tell you what, this is where I really need to do the standings. This is where I need to get these standings done, and I will get them done. I will 100% get them done after this round, you know, for my own sanity, because it gives me something to talk about. It gives me a bit of background to go into. It gives the drivers a bit more incentive to know what they're battling for. I just need to get them done, and I've got no excuse. Literally, there's no excuse. I just need to do it, and I will do it. Jill Silverin with a drive-through penalty, which will probably be for track limits. That's usually what you get drive-throughs for. He hasn't been into the pits for his mandatory pit stop, so the only sort of logical conclusion I can come to is that was for track limits. Obviously last week's race winner at Misano, but this week at Monza things have not really gone his way at all. Obviously an Italian double header for these last 2 weeks. Last week he was absolutely flying, but this time he's definitely not had the rub of the green, and his pace was far superior to anybody last week, but this week he's had plenty of people on the same page as him. Extra on in the meantime into the pits here at the end of lap 16. So he's coming in just before the halfway mark. Oh, somebody's gone straight on there. That's spur time. Spur time there, missing his braking point there as he manages to avoid the polystyrene blocks. Sorry, that was a hiccup. That was a consecutive hiccup there. That was 2 in a row, because I tried to suppress the first one, and then ultimately my body was like, no, sorry, you are a hiccup, and the second one came out rather uncomfortably. Extra on there in the pits. Jill Silverin is now on his way in for a drive-through. It's still... Sorry, I'm actually enjoying the comms tonight, but I'm just exhausted right now. Basically, I don't really sleep anymore. I think I'm just basically just completely... I mean, I can't sleep anymore. I just can't sleep. I'll be honest with you, I just can't sleep anymore. Every night is a sleepless night. I lie awake. My mind is running wild, thinking, why are things the way they are? What on earth is happening? What on earth is going on? Why am I like this? Why are my circumstances? Why are my surroundings so confusing? What is going on in my life, basically? You know, it's just how I approach every single day. It's like, basically, I just wake up and assume that every single day could be my... Anyway, Kodalungu here, coming over the line to complete lap 16. He's gapped just under 3 seconds right now over Nath. You can see there, Nath still keeping it on the same page. It's not really losing too much time to him at this point. Both of these guys have actually gone now beyond the halfway point, which leads me to think that they could potentially be on a full tank, no tyre change strategy. But it remains to be seen. We're going to find out, obviously, over the course of the next few laps. Snoopy is coming in at the halfway point. It looks like Totally Zero is as well. So I'm guessing these two probably going on a half tank strategy. Let's see how long they spend in the pit boxes. So Snoopy there now pulling into his box. So if he spends sort of like between 5 and 8 seconds in the box, you can pretty safely assume that he's not changing tyres or putting fuel in. But you see there, he's been in there for now about 15 seconds, so very likely he's putting tyres and fuel on. Totally Zero doing likewise, I would imagine, at this point. Yeah, both of them too. Actually no, Totally Zero stop and go. So Totally Zero not changing tyres or fuel. He's going the whole race on one set of tyres, and presumably full tanked it for the first stint as well. So Snoopy definitely changing tyres, definitely has half tanked it for the first stint. But Kodalungu currently with a 3.5 second gap right now as he's coming down the back straight. See Nathan to the pits here at the end of lap 17, and just behind him is Luke van der Street. So Nathan and Luke van der Street's both coming in here at the end of lap 17. Kodalungu stayed out for another lap, so showing no signs of letting up right now. Could Cod be on a full tank strategy? I'll tell you what, if he is, then his pace in the first stint has been absolutely incredible. But Nathan the pits, there is Luke as well. So there's Luke off and on his way once again. Nathan still sat in the box at this point. But there is Luke back out onto the racetrack proper. Clegg here coming out of the final corner. Does he pit this snap? Nope, he's still staying out, so I think that's pretty indicative now of him being on a full tank. So Rems has done his pit stop and he's now on his way down to the end of the pit lane. So that just leaves now Codalungu and Jill Silverine to come in. Jill Silverine's had a very patchy race so far in this one. A far cry from his unbelievable performance last week at Misano. I'm eyeing up a Galaxy chocolate bar which is sat on the corner of my desk, and I'm thinking, do I eat it? Do I tuck into this? No, I can't. I must resist, because if anything happens, I won't be able to talk. And I need to be able to cover any action that goes on there and then when it's happening. So I will resist the urge, but I might not resist it for the entirety of this race. Just a little heads up. It's giving me the eyes though, I'll tell you that. It's definitely looking at me. Currently 11 of you watching here on the stream, guys. If you are enjoying sound like Lenny from Mice and Men. If you're enjoying the stream here tonight, guys, please do smash the like button and subscribe if you want to get involved. As I said before, www.motorracing.com is the place where you can do that. Codalungu here into the pits at the end of lap 19, so I wonder if he is half tanking it, maybe throwing a little bit of a bluff here as he comes into the pit box now. So here he stops in the box now. What is this going to be for him? So he's still sat in the box at the moment. Now if he coming off the jacks around now, if he's full tanking it, he'd be coming off the jacks around now. Looks like he's not. So actually Codalungu, bit of a bluff there. Well, actually no, because he was stopped for about 10 seconds, so that's a bit of a confusing one, because he definitely wasn't changing tyres, but maybe he put a little bit of fuel in the car, because he was stationary for a bit longer than you would be if you were well, I say splash and dashing, I mean technically a little bit of fuel is a splash and dash. When I say splash and dash, what I actually mean is a stop and go, really. Essentially, when I say splash and dash, I mean that they're stopping in the box and literally doing nothing to the car and going as quickly as possible. But actually I think Codalungu's done what I think is actually the general definition of a splash and dash. I mean, he literally has put a little bit of fuel in the car and off he goes. No dramas, no tyre changes, nothing else, just a little bit of a hose and then off and away. So Cod back out on the track, obviously maintains his lead, or rather Jill Silverine Silverine's not in the lead, so still behind him despite having to come in and do a pit stop still in this race. Sorry. Right, Snoopy here, pulling up onto the back of Totally Zero. You can see these two running in 6th and 7th places right now. They're a couple of seconds behind Jill Silverine. Jill Silverine must have actually been in earlier. He must have actually been in the pits, and then it just not counted as a pit stop, maybe, because I can't imagine Jill Silverine being in that position. I just can't. Surely not. Maybe, because I know he's had a difficult race. I've seen him make a couple of mistakes. maybe he has been in, it's just a glitch. I don't know. I can't remember now. If I'm perfectly honest, I can't remember. You know, this could get thrown back at me because there could be a clip of me saying, "Oh, Jill Silverman's in the pits at the moment," but I don't remember it. If it happened, I don't remember it. But nonetheless, Totally Zero and Snoopy here, running in 6th and 7th places. They're coming into Ascari. As I want to just apologise to anybody who's having to deal with, I don't know if my voice sounds a bit slurred or a bit tired. I'm just extremely exhausted at this point. I don't think I've got a proper night's sleep in about, probably about, I don't know, about 2 months. So yeah, it is starting to take its toll now. It's been gradually getting worse, but actually I find maybe in the last couple of weeks it might have been getting a bit better, because I'm just used to this state of mind now. I'm in a permanently compromised state, and as such I think I'm learning to cope with it slightly better, and as a result I think it's now becoming the new norm. So ultimately I think, yeah, it's just basically this is normal now. This is, yeah, I could get used to this. But currently Totally Zero is just gapping Snoopy a little bit here, so they're saying that Snoopy just gained half a second on him through that first sector. Spur Time's back in the pits here, so Spur Time, well, I said back in the pits. He hasn't, according to the timing screen, he hasn't actually been in the pits, but I'm sure he has been, maybe not. I'm not quite sure. Nonetheless, Totally Zero just ahead of Snoopy. Actually, Snoopy's gained on him a massive amount here over the course of this lap. You can see the gap was 1.2. That's well under a second. You can see with your own eyes. If you've got eyes and you've got eyesight, you can see quite clearly that gap is well under a second. It says 2/10 now between the two of them. Totally Zero did wallop the curb a little bit there through the first part of Ascari. That could have compromised him ever so slightly. Gets a decent enough run coming out onto the back straight though, and that will keep him in good stead here as he come down towards the Parabolica. Snoopy will look to try and get a bit of closing speed here. Is he going to look to the inside into Parabolica? He is going to look to the inside. He throws a little feint, but Totally Zero is not taking the bait there. Snoopy nowhere near close enough to make the move. Totally Zero for the time being holding on to this one, but Snoopy will get a run here coming out onto the main straight. As here we go, Totally Zero now is going to defend the inside line. Here goes Snoopy looking to the outside, and he breezes past Totally Zero. I tell you what, that is just testimony to the BMW and how quick it is in a straight line. It's made that McLaren look like it's a GT4 car there. That is unbelievable. And Totally Zero there losing the place. Snoopy up into P6, routine stuff like the McLaren was not even there. And obviously those of you who are confused looking at the timing screen, seeing that Totally Zero is in a number 4 Mercedes, if you actually look rather than listen to what you're being told, you can actually see that quite clearly that is not the case. He is driving a number 8 McLaren, not a number 4 Mercedes. So yeah, all it takes is just to have a look and know that what you've been told, what you've been led to believe, is actually completely and utterly brilliant stuff. But yeah, currently Totally Zero now just over a second behind Snoopy. So Snoopy is now starting to pull away a little bit. Cod nonetheless has got a gap of around 20 seconds over Luke van der Streets at this particular moment in time. But Snoopy has gapped Totally Zero by over a second, by over 2 seconds at this point, so he's absolutely flying right now, is Snoopy. He should be able to close up onto the back of Jill Silverman, because Jill Silverman has still got a pit according to the timing screen. Whether or not he's going to try and not do that and then mention it afterwards, potentially, if he's got a case for, maybe if he's come in and done the pit stop but it's not counted for some reason or whatever. But in the meantime, we're watching Remster here pulling up onto the back of Error Code, and he's got a bit of a run here coming down this back straight which leads down towards the Ascari chicane, and he's done him really easily there. So the Bentley there absolutely breezing past Aerocode, and the Bentley speed there absolutely doing bits. And yeah, up into 9th place he goes, ahead of the Audi of Aerocode. Do you know what? I'm going to open up this Galaxy bar. Sorry, but I've barely eaten anything today. I had... What did I have? I can't remember now. Oh, I actually had a steak pie. A cold steak pie. Some refrigerated chicken bites. And a can of Monsters. That's all I've eaten today. Which, you know, for a lot of people that'd be enough, but... Yeah. I'm just a bit fat. That is delicious. Oh, Snoopy here looking outside of Gil Silverham. Gil Silverham still yet to pit, but Snoopy looking outside. Gil Silverham's got a good run there on the inside. But I think that Snoopy will get him down the start finish straight. I think that's pretty sure. And Gil Silverham finally coming into the pits here at the end of lap 23. So at long last making his mandatory pit stop here. Snoopy into clean air now. Up into P5. To the battle here for 4P10. Carl Marley just ahead of Aerocode here as they're coming down the start finish straight. Aerocode, I think it's a bit too far back just at the moment to send one here on Carl Marley. But in the foreground you've got the car of Remster. Actually, Carl Marley's got ahead of Aerocode by the looks of it, yeah, because Carl Marley was behind him, so Carl Marley's actually made that move, so understated there. Didn't see that one come about, but Carl Marley has actually overtaken Aerocode there for P10, so fair play to Carl Marley. That's sitting now closed in on Remster, who's running in 9th place. So obviously that's released Carl Marley into clean air. Aerocode falling back a little bit at this point, but has kept in it, kept going. You know, he's going to score some good points for P11, I'll tell you that. Once the championship standings are done, that is. Oh, big news, big news. We've got Luke van der Streets there spinning out, coming through Parabolica. He had a collision there with J Fletcher, so coming through the corner. And Luke van der Streets is off onto the gravel. Oh, what has gone on there? And Luke there loses out to Exeron, who's up into third place. Snoopy coming round the final corner here. Oh, no. Luke van der Streets. What happened there with him and Nath? I think there was a collision. I didn't really see what happened, but Luke has been, well, it's been closing in on him, hasn't he? But, wow. Well, Nate J. Fletcher was closing in quite a lot on Luke van der Streets over a number of laps, obviously because he had a longer pit stop, and obviously he's made the move, and Luke van der Streets there, I don't know if he turned on him or what happened, but Luke van der Streets now running in 4th place, and Nate into clean air, but at what cost to his car? Has he got damage maybe, which could affect him with Exeron just under 10 seconds behind. Luke though is going to have more damage I think on his car than Nate is on his. Yeah, it does look a bit battered up, to be fair. He might be vulnerable to Snoopy in the closing laps of this race. See Tony Zero here coming into the pits in the lap 28. Oh, there's big contact there between Luke van der Streets and Snoopy, as Snoopy's trying around the outside here, going around a parabolica. So Snoopy there has closed in on Luke van der Streets, obviously with Luke van der Streets getting his damage a few laps to go with his collision with Nath, and Snoopy now up into 4th place. So crucial there for Snoopy, and Luke with the damage there, really powerless to do a whole lot to defend that one. And there is Snoopy now running in P4 in this race, so he's going to be pretty chuffed, I'm sure, having gained an extra position. Luke van der Streets is going to be cursing his luck, but I mean, these things do happen. He would have probably had a 3rd place if it hadn't been for the collision with Nath, which cost him not just damage but also time as well. Just thinking here, this could be the last lap, because Codalungu's got 1 minute and 9 on the clock as we speak, so potentially it could be the final lap of the race. I think it's going to be quite close actually. If Codalungu sort of slows down a bit and runs out the clock, he's got enough of a lead to do so. It's probably be the final lap of the race. He's just got a bit of traffic here in the shape of Totally Zero as he's coming through Lesmo too, but Codalungu here has got well over a 20-second lead. 22 seconds he's got over Nacho Fletch. A superb bounce back performance from Codalungu in about his 4th race back racing here at Motive. Obviously came onto the PS5 at Kota last season, but this season has raced in every round since Watkins Glen and has really delivered here tonight at Monza. He's been getting closer and closer to the front every week, and tonight he's absolutely blown everyone away with a very dominant performance indeed. Codalungu, former runner-up in the GT3 class for our multi-class series on the PS4 many seasons ago now, about a year ago I think it would have been. And here he comes out of the Parabolica here for the final time in Tier 2 for the round 5 of the GT3 Championship at Motive for Season 4. It's going to be Codalungu up towards the line. It's going to take the checkered flag here at Monza. It's going to be the race victory for him. Superb job there from Codalungu. And he was just in another league from everybody else tonight. Nate J. Fletch on a, much quicker strategy in the first part of the race, still couldn't keep with him, still couldn't live with him at all. Nath coming out of the final corner here is going to take 2nd place here. Nonetheless, a great performance there and some good points in the bag for Nath as he comes over the line to finish the race. Exeron here coming out of the Parabolica. It's going to be a 3rd place here. It's going to be a podium for Exeron, which I'm sure he's not going to be too displeased about. Totally Zero, Carmali, Remster and Error Code all finished a lap down. Such was the pace there of Codalungu. Snoopy up towards the line is going to bring it home for 4th place here in this one, not too far ahead of Luke van der Streets, who comes over in P5. Looks like he's run out of fuel, but he is just going to get over the line, which is great there for him. Fierce Mars coming through Ascari. Tunde will be the next driver over the line. He's running 11th place. He's just coming through the Parabolica right now. Spur time I think is just a little bit behind Fierce Mars on the track, so we'll see them coming over the line in just a moment. But Tunde nonetheless over the line here to take home 10th. Fierce Mars out of the Parabolica. It's going to be a P6 here for him. He'll be the last driver on the lead lap as well, so Codalungu lap everybody up to P7. Incredible performance there from him. Spur time up towards the line to take P11. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. We had 15 drivers start. Unfortunately, we only had 12 finish. Such is the nature of sim racing sometimes. Jill Silverin made it 2 laps from the end. Or 5 laps from the end, whatever. and will score points for his travels. But Kodalungu, Nathan, and Exaronia, top 3 here for Tier 2. Guys, we'll be back very, very shortly for Tier 1. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very soon. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for tonight for the Tier 1s for the GT3 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5, as we're coming towards the end of the qualifying session here for round 5 of an 8-round season. Currently got Tynus in the house, sat on provisional pole position here for this one, by just over a tenth of a second from Ludo. We saw these two were quite close actually last time out at Misano. We saw an interesting sort of battle in terms of the pace between them in the last one, so I wonder if we'll be able to see Ludo once again giving Tynus a bit of a run for his money, because we know that on his day Ludo can definitely take the fight to him. Kevsim in third at the moment, 4 tenths off of the fastest time. He's on a 49.2. You currently got half a second between the top 4. Chris isn't too far away either, so plenty of drivers here who could definitely keep Tynus on his toes. But obviously, you know, last week we saw Tynus taking the win in the end quite comfortably, but at times Ludo did have him under pressure, so you know, could this be the week where we see Tynus finally lose his 4-race winning streak? He's won 4 out of 4 so far this season in this GT3 Championship on a Sunday night, but Ludo is getting closer to him. He's only 500ths of a second off that fastest time at this point, so yeah, Ludo's definitely getting closer to that top time at the moment. But yeah, Tynus currently on the 148s. Only Tynus and Ludo in the 148s at this point. We've got a very special guest here tonight. A big warm welcome back to Cheese Monkey, who's rejoining us for the first time in a long time here. He's driving in the Mercedes. Well, no, it says, yeah, he's in the Mercedes. Driving in the 589. I think that's a default livery, that one. But yeah, Cheese Monkey used to race with us in the GT4 Championship when it ran on a Wednesday night. He's actually a 2-time champion here at Motive in the GT4 league, and he raced in the GT3s a fair bit as well back when we first started on the PS5, but this is the first time he's raced here I think in over a year, so it's great to see Cheese Monkey back out on the track. As I said, the first time in quite a long time that he's raced out here. He's currently 7th at the moment on this leaderboard. He's our 2-time champion of the GT4 division at Motive. Obviously we don't run GT4s anymore, but we did back in the day, and it was a very successful and exciting league that we used to run on a Wednesday night. And obviously he did control it for a few seasons. He was the man to beat for basically about 2 seasons at least, I think it was. Tynus nonetheless has just improved his fastest time at the top of the leaderboard here. He's now gone nearly 3 tenths clear of Ludo. What can Ludo do here on this lap that he's currently on? He's coming around the final corner. He'll get one more lap after this one as well, but he comes over. Does he improve? Doesn't for the time being, stays in P2, but he'll get this one more lap to try and get himself onto top spot if he possibly can. Chris is coming to the pits, so he's not going to improve on P3, so it looks like he's unlikely to get onto the front row. He definitely won't get on the front row, because unless Ludo gets a penalty. But Kev Simian coming through the Parabolica. Can he get himself ahead of Chris? Can he get himself onto the front row maybe alongside Tynus? Here comes Kev Sim out of the Parabolica and up towards the start finish line now. Currently 6 tenths off for the pole time. Can he improve? No, he doesn't. Stays in P4 for the time being. PS Vids is out at the moment. He's currently in P6 in this session. Keeping an eye out to see who's next coming over the line. Looks like High Grade's been into the pits, so he's not going to improve at the end of this session by the looks of it. Low 3000 is just starting a lap, so he just got over the line in time to do a lap. Yellow Army's coming through the De La Rocha chicane. You've got Raki in the pits. Epiphany is out there at the moment as well. Joe Silverin's going to be watching the race from the pit lane. He said earlier on, he said to me in the Discord that he'll be watching it from the box. But yeah, looking like Tynus is going to take pole unless Ludo can find a bit of time here at the end of this session. He's just coming down the back straight now, and Ludo in towards the Parabolica he goes for the final time in this qualifying session. I imagine he's probably up, because at this stage in the lap, usually if you're not improving on the final run of the session, you'd probably be bailing into the pits, or at least stopped it out on track. But Ludo here seems to have his foot planted to the floor here as he's coming up towards the line. Can he improve and put himself on pole position here? Ludo over the line. He improves, but not by enough, by only a tenth of a second. He needed 2.5 tenths to put himself on pole. So Gludo here is going to have to settle for a front row start. Kevsim coming down the back straight. Can he improve on P5 as he's coming down now towards the Parabolica, the highest running BMW in this qualifying session? What a far cry from Tier 2, where we saw the top 4 all in BMWs. BMW is currently occupying 5th, 7th and 8th places so far in this session as Kevsim coming up towards the line. Can he improve here? He comes over the line and he doesn't improve, stays in P5. I think he was the last driver of the line. Oh no, Yellow Army, no. Yellow Army's done as well. So that is that then. So that is that for the session then, guys. So it is Tynus taking pole ahead of Ludo in 2nd place, with Guido Christ in 3rd ahead of Kangi. Kevsim P5 with Andrew 6th ahead of PS Vids in 7th, with Mary Louise in 8th place. Cheese Monkey bumped down to 9th place in the end. Robe P10, not where we're used to seeing Robe. Usually he's right up near the sharp end. Maybe Monza's not the best of tracks for him. Capriglia 11th with High Grade in 12th place, followed by Lord 3000 in 13th. Epiphany 14th with Yellow Army P15 and Raki rounding out the Tier 1 grid. A bit of a depleted grid tonight. Only 31 people turned up across both tiers. If there were 2 less than that, we could have run it in 1 tier, but it is what it is. I mean, I'd rather do two tiers, to be honest. I'd much rather do 2 tiers of 15 than 1 tier of 30, because, you know, ultimately it's more racing, it's more excitement, it's more drama. Do you know what I mean? And 30 car races, they get a bit cramped, can't they? You know, I mean, 20, 25 cars is plenty. 15 cars, I think you can get plenty of action. You know what I mean? It's not sparse by any means. But anyway, guys, here we are then, getting ready to go for the Tier 1 race, round 5 of Season 4. We've just lost a driver. Who's left? Oh no. Just tracing the leaderboard to see who it was. Epiphany. So Epiphany has left the session here before we've started. Hopefully he can get himself back in. Will he be able to load his setup though? That's the question. This is a bit frustrating. Here we are then, guys. We're about to go racing here for round 5 of the Tier 1 Championship for the GT3s here at Motive on a Sunday night. We've got 16 drivers out on the track here. We had 15 for Tier 2, 31 drivers across both tiers. Not the worst turnout in the world, but you know, I'd like it to be 40 plus, so we're going to be obviously doing a bit of advertisement on TikTok and Instagram over the course of this week, trying to get those tiers full, trying to get Tier 2 full, and hopefully in turn Tier 1 full again next season. But here we come down towards the Parabolica as we got the 16 drivers who are here tonight. Absolute legends, every single one of you who have turned up here tonight. We've got Epiphany, who will be starting from the pit lane, obviously down to the fact that he did actually disconnect during the intermission session, but luckily he is back in for the race. But yeah, he'll be starting from P16 from the pits. But Tynus in house on pole position ahead of Ludo. 2.5 tenths separated them in qualifying. Can Ludo take the fight to Tynus over the course of a 1 hour race distance? Guido, Chris and Kangi there on the second row. Kangi having a cracker of a qualifying session. It's great to see him so high up here on this leaderboard. PS Fids, I know he's quick around Monza. I met him in a Monza lobby, I think he joined through a Monza lobby, if I remember correctly. I might be mistaken on that, but I think that's right. So yeah, lots of drivers here who actually, I think quite a few I met in Monza servers online. So yeah, it's generally quite a hot spot on ACC, but it looks like we're underway. We're racing now down towards the first chicane, and Tynus here didn't get a great start as Ludo's looking to the outside, but I think he's going to hold on coming in towards the first chicane as Guido Chris there is being passed around the outside there by Kangi. Kangi's looking on the outside there. They're side by side into the first corner. Oh, as Ludo goes deep there, very deep, right over the speed bumps there as well. He's going to lose out to Guido, Chris and Kangi here. So Ludo there dropping down to I think at least P6, potentially further down than that. Kangi up into second place. We've got side by side here between Guido, Chris, and I think that's the Audi of Andrew there. So Andrew's got the inside on Guido Chris here into the De La Rocha chicane, and Andrew's going to move himself up into third place here. So it's been a great start here from Andrew, but it's Tynus from Kangi from Andrew with Guido Chris in fourth, followed by Kev Sim. Then you've got Mary Louise ahead of Ludo, followed by Cheese Monkey. PS Fids down to ninth. Not a great first few corners for him. Lowell 3000 running in 10th place ahead of Robe, followed by Capriga as we've got Lowell 3000 getting pushed onto the grass a bit there. PS Fids there just squeezing through ahead of him, but Robe's trying around the outside of Lowell 3000 here, coming through the Lesmo 1 in the foreground. Cheese Monkey attacking on the back of Ludo in the background there. Number 90 of High Grade is round there, coming through Lesmo 1. So unfortunately, have a High Grade down to the back of the pack here. Cheese Monkey's managed to complete the move here on Ludo as they're coming down the back straight, and looks as though PS Fids is going to try and make the move here on Ludo as well, but Ludo's actually coming back at Cheese Monkey down towards Ascari, but he's too far back, has to tuck in, and Cheese Monkey's got that one done up into 7th place. PS Fids there just tucking in ahead of Ludo here, so PS Fids has got ahead of Ludo as well. Ludo losing places here on this opening lap. It's been a nightmare of a start to this race for Ludo, but his rival in qualifying, Tynus, is already a second clear of Kangi. You've got Andrew there in third ahead of Guido Chris, followed by Kevsim, who's looking all over the back of Guido Chris right now. Mary Louise ahead of Cheese Monkey, followed by PS Fids, who's ahead of Ludo. There's Robe ahead of Lowell 3000, who's got Capriga looking down his inside into the Parabolica. Capriga is going to move himself up into 11th place here. Beautifully done there from Capriga as we see the rest of them there coming through the Parabolica right now. But Tynus in the house, easy leader by just over a second here. Guido Chris is all over the back of Andrew as they're coming down towards the first chicane. Has a little look to the inside, but he's too far back just at the moment. PS Fid's also close on the back of Cheese Monkey as well, but no dice for any of these guys at this point as we see Ludo into the pits at the end of the first lap. So I wonder if he's got damage, or is he just coming in for an early pit stop. Potentially knows that it could be beneficial to come in early because you avoid all the traffic, and essentially you've got a clear track. You can go as quickly as you like, you don't have to worry about crashing into the guys in front of you. But currently Tynus, Kang, Andrew the top three. There's Guido Christ, who's just ahead of Kev Sim, followed by Mary Louise. Cheese Monkey there in 7th ahead of PS Fids, and then a bit of a gap back to Robe, who's got Capriga behind him, a couple of seconds back to Yellow Army there running in 12th place. Ludo in the pits. Raki is now in 13th place ahead of Ludo. Ludo's still there. Epiphany has moved through up into 14th, and High Grade there in P15 after that spin that we saw coming through Lesmo 1 on lap 1, and he's got a lot of work to do in this race. But Tynus here has got the gap just over a second, staying consistent here to Kangi. Guido Christ is right underneath Andrew as he's looking to the inside into Ascari. Is he going to send one up the inside? No, he's not. Too far back just at the moment. Has to tuck in for the time being. He's going to wait and watch for his opportunity here, if he can potentially take one here. But Kev Sim on the back of Guido Christ as well. We've got a stop-go penalty here for Ludo. I assume that's for speeding in the pits. So that's only going to compound matters and basically go from bad to worse there for him. As Kev Sim now looking to the outside of Guido Christ into the Parabolica. As Guido Christ is going to cover that inside line. Kev Sim's got to go round the long way here. Guido Christ will have the slipstream here off of Andrew, which will help him here to defend. And Kev Sim for the time being is going to have to tuck in there for that slipstream. So the battle for third, fourth and fifth staying as it was. Tynus has got just over a second and a half now of a gap here over Kangi, so he's looking a bit more comfortable here out the front. As we look back to the battle for third place, still going on here between Andrew, Guido Christ and Kev Sim. In the background, Cheese Monkey's making a move here on Mary Louise in towards the first chicane. Is he going to get this one done? Mary Louise trying to go late on the brakes, going to hold it around the outside. Cheese Monkey couldn't get it done on the brakes. Looks like the BMW there better on the brakes than the Merc into turn one, and Mary Louise for the time being holding on to 6th place. PS Vids and Robe still right there with these guys. Caprigia and Low 3000 in the background there, running in 10th and 11th places. But Tynus in the house, crucially for him, still leading the race at this point, with Kangi now dropping off gradually there in second place. Andrew there going to go deep into the Della Rocha chicane. That's going to give Guido Christ a run, surely coming out of it as they come down towards Lesmo 1. As Guido Christ looking to the outside here, Andrew defending the inside line into Lesmo 1, and Guido Christ swoops around the outside. That was a great manoeuvre there from Guido Christ, very confident of him there to have the grip around the outside off the racing line. Did a really good job there, did Guido Christ up into third place, and now Andrew's wide there onto the gravel a little bit out of Lesmo 2. That's going to give Kev Sim the run here, coming down under the old circuit towards Ascari, and Kev Sim there up into 4th place. Guido Christ there down 2 places to 5th place, 3rd to 5th there for Guido Christ, as Mary Louise still had a Cheese Monkey in this battle for 6th and 7th places, but definitely not the situation that I think that he would have wanted there for Andrew. But Cheese Monkey still on the back of Mary Louise. There's PS Vids ahead of Robe, followed by Caprigia. You've got Low 3000 there. Bit of a gap back to Yellow Army, who's falling off of the lead pack at this point. I say lead pack, I mean they are a bit spread out. Tynus, Kangi and Guido, Tynus and Kangi have pulled away from everybody, but the gap from 3rd down to 11th is actually really close. You've got about 9 drivers pretty much in a line here, as Kev Sim was a little bit wide coming out of the Parabolica. Andrew there's still on the back of him right now. Ludo's come back into the pits to serve that stop-go penalty which he got for his early pit stop, where he came steaming into the pits a little bit too quickly. But here we come through the first chicane once again. Tynus there, got a 3-second lead over Kangi. There's Guido ahead of Kev Sim, followed by Andrew. And we've got a move here. Cheese Monkey down the inside into turn 1. And PS Vids has gone straight on there over the first chicane. So PS Vids will have to concede that time back there. Cheese Monkey, though, has made the move on Mary Louise up into P6. Beautifully done there from him. And can he now try and chase down the top 5, who are a couple of seconds up the road from him? Totally Zero in the comments saying, oh no, Ludo. Oh no, indeed. Totally Zero. He's had a real shocker over start to this race. He was second on the grid. Let's not forget. He was only 2.5 tenths off at the pace of Tynus. But it's looking like Tynus's main threat to this race win is pretty much down and out here in the early stages. Mary Louise still on the back of Cheese Monkey. You've got the rest of the mid pack there going through Lesmo 1 right now. But Tynus in the house is your leader here as they're coming down this little back straight towards Ascari once again. Kev Sim here looking to the outside of Guido Christ, coming down towards Ascari. Guido Christ there hugging the inside line. Kev Sim though slightly ahead, is he? No, Guido Christ just got the run here, I think. Trying to run the outside here is Kev Sim. He's got his car alongside here. They're going to have to give each other space here, and he does it beautifully there. Does Kev Sim up into 3rd place. Guido Christ there, very conscientious there, and great move there from Kev Sim up into 3rd place. Superbly done. So yeah, Kev Sim now into the podium places. I tell you what, though, Guido Christ is not done. He's looking back to the inside here into the Parabolica. And I'll tell you what, the McLaren seems to have decent straight line speed there. Guido Christ has obviously got that set up for a straight line. Has probably got quite a low downforce kind of setup on that. But Guido Christ there back up into 3rd place. Kev Sim now back in the slipstream. The BMW should have the pace down the start finish straight with a bit of slipstream to help him out as well. As here he goes, looking to the outside now is Kev Sim. Guido Christ is going to cover the inside. Oh, Kev Sim there, sending one down the inside. And Guido Christ just keeping it around the outside there. But Kevsim did not really get the straight line speed I'd expect the BMW to have over the McLaren. Clearly Guido Chris has got his car very low setup. Oh no! And Kevsim there loses it coming to the curve of Grande. He hit the grass. He was trying to go to the inside there of Guido Chris and he had nowhere to go. And Kevsim in huge trouble here on lap 5 of the race. He's going to drop down the field. He's going to be, I think, in P12 after that. Where's Yellow Army? Has Yellow Army got ahead of him? I don't think he has actually. I think he must come out in 11th place. In between Lowell 3000 and Yellow Army, so no, he is behind Yellow Army, so he kevs him there down to P12 with that one. What a shame, as he was in a decent position in this race, but it's all gone horribly wrong as Tynus is your race leader by 3 seconds over Kangi. There's Guido Chris running in third with Andrew all over the back of him right now. You've got Cheese Monkey with Mary Louise. PS Fit's a couple of seconds behind them ahead of Robe with Caprigia and Lowell 3000 right there as well. As PS Fit's here trying to defend from Robe into Ascari. Oh, bit of contact there between them. PS Fit's just squeezing back ahead of Robe there on the exit of Ascari. Close, tight racing here between them. As PS Fit's now looking to defend the position on Robe down towards the Parabolica we go. As Robe here is going to try and go all the way around the outside of PS Fit's. PS Fit's hugging the inside line as they come through the Parabolica now. And PS Fit's keeping on to P7 there. Robe has to tuck in for the time being. Meanwhile, Andrew all over the back of Guido Chris as they're coming over the line here to complete lap 5. Cheese Monkey though's reeled them in really quickly here. He's made absolutely... I keep being lost for words when I say this. He's made absolutely no... He's made no fuss about it, has he? That's what I mean, I don't really know what I'm trying to say. He's not wasted any time catching up to them, is what I mean. Words fail me right now. I don't know what's going on. I know what's going on. It's because I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm suffering from major exhaustion and my brain is starved of oxygen and the things that it needs, like sleep. But nonetheless, Robe is up into 7th place. He's made the move on PS Fitz into the De La Rocha chicane. So Robe up another position here. Gives him in the pits right now. In the meantime, Andrew's still in the back of Guido Chris. But yeah, basically my brain is starved of this wonderful luxury known as sleep. See, when you're chronically stressed out and suffering from unbelievable amounts of sleep deprivation, usually it affects your ability to talk, function, think, behave like a normal human being. You know, all these things, they tend to be somewhat compromised when you don't sleep ever due to chronic stress. But nonetheless, we can see Guido Chris just ahead of Andrew and Cheese Monkey right now as these three coming down towards the Parabolica. But PS Fit's on the back of Robe as well, as they're side by side, and PS Fit's has got a much better straight line speed here coming down towards Parabolica. Is he going to be able to get it done around the outside? Robe there on the inside still, and is going to go a little bit later on the brakes and keeps ahead of PS Fit's for the time being. Has a tighter line through the corner. PS Fit's a bit wide, would have scrubbed a bit of speed there, potentially might be open to a Law 3000. Law 3000 just got ahead of Caprigia up into P9, so those two have swapped places by the looks of it. But PS Fit's back into the slipstream here of Robe. Law 3000 looking to the inside here on PS Fit's. Oh, and Robe's gone deep into turn 1. He's gone very deep there, had to take to the escape road there, did Robe. PS Fitz and Lowell 3000 side by side in the background as Lowell 3000 moves himself through. So Lowell 3000 has gained 2 places here in a couple of sectors. So he's currently around on a move, isn't he? Look at him. But Robe there definitely gained an advantage by cutting the first chicane. Now the thing is, you do get warnings for this, but I mean it's difficult because you can gain actually a load of time by cutting that first chicane. It's a bit of a glitch on Monza. I mean, he would have got a warning for that. Definitely would have got a warning. So he can't do that too often. But yeah, it's not really. Yeah, it's not really in the spirit of it there. PS Vid's still in the back of Law 3000 with Caprigia right there as well. As these guys are queuing up behind Robe at the moment. This is battle for 7th place. 4 of them pretty much in a line as PS Vid's now side by side with Robe. Managed to get a better run there coming out of Lesmo too. Here we come down towards Ascari once again, but PS Fitz has to tuck in because he's not far enough alongside Lowell 3000 to be able to make a move there just at the moment. In the meantime, Cheese Monkey's got a bit of a run here on Andrew as they're coming down towards the Parabolica, but Andrew should be alright there in that P4 for now. In the meantime, Cheese Monkey with the slipstream here, pulling to the outside now. Andrew defends to the inside here, coming down towards the first chicane. Can Cheese Monkey get this one done? He's going to look around the outside here, and he's going to get that one done, surely. Yeah, Cheese Monkey up into 4th place. Beautifully done there from him. In the meantime, Lowell 3000 is still on the back of Robe in his battle for 7th and 8th places. You've got Caprigga there running in 9th place, just over a second behind these guys. PS Vids into the pits here at the end of lap 7. As Andrew here has lost out to... Wait, hold on, that's high grade. Oh, he's just put a lap on high grade, okay. Sorry, for a second there I thought, where's Andrew ended up here? But he's just ahead of high grade at this point. Mary Louise in the background, and then a big gap back to Robe, who's still got a lower 3000 and Caprigga all over the back of him. In fact, where is Andrew actually? Yeah, he is still... No, hold on. Ah, Andrew is now 4 seconds behind Mary Louise, only 2 seconds ahead of Robe. So I think something might have happened here to him. Andrew now running in P6. Mary Louise is now actually back on the rear of Cheese Monkey here. So these two are still fighting it out over 4th and 5th places, but Andrew must have dropped it somewhere, because you can see it's coming under pressure from the back marker high grade. Cheese Monkey still just ahead of Mary Louise in his battle for 4th place at this point. PS Vids currently in the pits here at the end of... I think it's lap 8 for him. I think it is, yeah. So a bit of damage there potentially on his car, affecting him at this stage. See Raki coming into the pits here at the end of lap 9, so he's making relatively early pit stop. He looks like he's got a bit of damage on the front of the car, I think, just a little bit. Not a massive amount, but be affecting the car. Oh, look at that! Actually, he's got damage on the left side of the car as well, so that has taken a bit of a battering there. So yeah, definitely would have been costing him some performance. I can't imagine that he would be. Actually, he might be changing tyres at this point, because if he's going to be a long time getting it fixed, then he might as well change tyres and put a bit of fuel in. If he needs fuel, he might not need fuel, but I don't know. It's up to him. I mean, he'd be looking at his dash and he'd be seeing how much sort of time loss is going to be in the pits, and maybe making a quick sort of adjustment and a calculation as to whatever it is. But Raki here in the pits and in the lap 9 nonetheless. Tynus here coming round to complete lap 10. He's gapped to Kangi, very comfortable at the moment, over 8 seconds. Kangi doing a good job here, currently best of the rest ahead of Guido Chris by just over a second. These two have got Cheese Monkey 5 seconds behind them now. The question is Cheese Monkey closing in on them now he's in clean air? Looks like the gap is coming down a little bit, so Cheese Monkey is chipping away at the gap to Guido Chris, so I definitely wouldn't rule out Cheese Monkey over podium in this race tonight. And obviously he's raced in Tier 1 before, he's a 2-time champion of the GT3 Tier Motive. I thought to myself, there's no point in sticking him in Tier 2, it would just be unfair. It simply put, it would be unfair on the Tier 2 drivers. So get him in Tier 1, see what he can do. I'm glad I made the right call. You know, running in P4 at the moment, doing a really solid job in the Merc AMG, the only Merc AMG aside from high grade on the grid actually, and only one of 2 in the whole championship, because we haven't got a single Merc sign up to the championship in Tier 2. So it's one of 2 Mercs, and obviously around this circuit the Merc does tend to go quite well, being that it's very straight line speed orientated. The only car that's probably, I'd say, quicker than the BMW in a straight line is the Merc. So yeah, it's really no slouch around this circuit, that's for sure. Beam is probably the best all-rounder around this track, but yeah, the Merc definitely, I'd say, is the best down the straights. I'm really tired, guys, and as such I'm not very good at reading the comments tonight, but I couldn't help but notice there Totally Zero and Gertian saying that they get their setups off of YouTube, and you guys are not the only ones. I'm glad to inform you that I am the same. I know barely anything about setups. I know that low downforce creates less drag and creates a faster car in the straights, but I also know that it causes the car to not be as close to the ground, and essentially means that your turning speed isn't as strong, and it means that your car's not as stable. So essentially lower downforce means faster speed in a straight line, but also means that you're slower through the corners. What else do I know about setups? Yeah, gearing, you want to have it high for tracks with long straights. You want to have it low for tracks that don't have long straights. What else do I know about setups? Bits and bobs, which I'm probably not thinking of at the moment, but if I was sat in the driver's seat out on track, I know what to do, basically. When it comes to setups, I know what works because of experience and because I've done this a few times, so I know what works. But I mean, if I were to explain it, it'd just come out absolute gibberish like it is right now. But yeah, apart from downforce, I don't understand much, says Gertian. Similar here, mate, similar here. Totally Zero cases, but do you know what the bump is for on ACC? Differential and brake bias, Gertian says. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, think so. Yeah, I reckon. Kangi and Guido Christie are still battling over second and third places as they're coming out of Ascari. You can see them running pretty much bumper to bumper here. Guido Christie is putting more pressure on the back of Kangi. Just noticing we have lost a driver from this Tier 1 race, that is High Grade, who unfortunately has retired. So High Grade will be taking no further part in tonight, which is a massive shame there, obviously. But he wasn't having the night at all, by High Grade standards. High Grade's high standards. Oh dear, shut up. It's not really the night that we would have been anticipating for him. But nonetheless, we've got Guido Christie looking to the inside of Kangi coming into turn 1. Is this going to be job done here for Guido Christie? I think it is, as he goes a bit later on the brakes there, doesn't manage to go deep, gets it done beautifully there, and Guido Christie up into second place. Once again showing the McLaren's got decent straight line speed here. Bentley not as quick as the Beamer in a straight line, but Guido Christie's got that McLaren set up very nicely for this circuit, I'll tell you that. He's really figured out Monza to a T in that McLaren. And yeah, into P2 he goes. Both of these two have got Cheese Monkey reeling them in, but not by very much, only by a couple of tenths a lap, so they haven't really got to worry too much about Cheese Monkey just yet, I wouldn't think. But maybe in the later stages of the race, that could potentially change a little bit. As Guido Christ a bit wide there, coming out of Lesmo 1. Tyner's still leading. There's Guido Christ running in second place with Kangi on the back of him. But obviously Guido Christ getting ahead of Kangi. Now he'll try and extend that gap if he can. I'm noticing here on the timing screen we've got a battle here for 13th place going on behind, well, with the drivers who have already been into the pits. Raki, PS Fit and Ludo, who all got damage in the early stages, are having actually quite an exciting battle here for 13th, 14th and 15th places. And this could be one to watch. Obviously we haven't really got a whole lot going on other than this, but these guys are really giving it everything for 13th place. These guys are all kind of experienced drivers here at Motive. Oh, as PS Fid's there getting it wrong, coming out of Lesmo 2. Oh, and he's in the wall. PS Fid's there bidding it, and he gets going to have damage on the front of the car as well. Oh, just as we were tuning into that battle there. PS Fid's got big damage on the front of the car. It's definitely not like PS Fid's to retire from the race. Hopefully he carries on. But Raki and Ludo now left to battle it out for 13th place here between each other. Most of the setups that's fast on every single track of F1 is a Verstappen, says Totally Zero K. Verstappen has similar setups as those. Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't really follow. I haven't really been following this conversation, I must admit. I'm really quite exhausted and my eyes aren't really following. I can't really follow the comments. It's really hard at the moment with the way that my brain is just not reading what it's looking at. It's like I'm just no. I can follow the action on the screen because it's a big, you know, it's cars driving around the track. Like it's quite easy to follow, but anything that requires me to think even slightly, like actually reading text, it's really quite difficult at this stage. Oh, I'm just so exhausted. I'm so tired. But anyway, Guido Christ has now gapped Kangi by 1.3 seconds in this battle for second place at this point. They are considerably behind Tyner, who is continuing to absolutely blitz the field as we're coming towards the end of lap 14 as he's coming out of the Parabolica. So Tyner's now looking very good to make it 5 from 5 here tonight. A dominant championship so far. As Gertie in the comments saying, how'd you get sleep? Yeah, I know, I've seen it in YouTube. Yeah, I know I should get some sleep. I know. Again, guys, I want to remind you that the racing has been really great tonight, and I'm not yawning because of the racing. I'm yawning because I'm just exhausted. I've just got nothing left. I've got no energy, but I'm propped up. Anxiety is keeping me awake. Chronic stress is keeping me awake. Caffeine as well tends to help. 5 HTP tablets probably had the reverse effect, but also they make me happy and make me feel like the world is a nice place, so probably make me want to be awake more. So it kind of like has a sort of like a double-sided effect in a way, I guess. So yeah, I guess it's all quite trippy really. But in the meantime, Guido Christ is extending his gap over Kangi. You can see it's now nearly 2 seconds separating those two at this stage. So Guido Christ now looking a little bit more embedded in that second spot. Not really any too many battles going on aside from that. Ludo's actually gapped Raki by a couple of seconds now, so Ludo looking a little bit more safe and sound in that 13th spot than he was before. And yeah, we're sort of approaching the midway point now, so I imagine we're probably going to have a few drivers coming in. Those who have half tanked it and are planning on changing tyres will probably be coming in quite soon, I would imagine. Obviously when they do, obviously we'll be able to probably have quite an educated guess as to who the ones who are half tanking it are and who the ones who are full tanking it, because those who are half tanking it will be coming in at the midway point. Those who are full tanking it may go well beyond. They could in fact come in at the halfway point and throw a little bit of a bluff to the other drivers. One man who I am 95% certain is probably full tanking it is Tyner, because he very often does. I think I've only seen him do a half tank maybe a couple of times, but nearly always he'll go the distance on one set of tyres. Doesn't like to half tank it, doesn't like to spend any longer in the box than he needs to. Just likes to drive around and do his thing. But lower 3000 into the pits here at the end of lap 15, so he's probably half tanking it, I would imagine. The rest of them staying out for the time being. 12 of you currently watching the stream, guys. If you are enjoying tonight's action here for the GT3 Championship Motive, then please do smash the like button. If you joined us for Tier 2 earlier, if you're one of the Tier 2 drivers, hopefully you're enjoying watching the Tier 1s, or if you're just joining us on Tier 1 after watching back the Tier 2s, then yeah, welcome to you, and yeah, hope you're enjoying your season so far. I also want to apologise to everybody for not getting the championship standings up to date. Basically, I'm sorry for my incompetence. I really am. I truly am sorry for my incompetence. It's not good enough. It really is a joke that it's taken me 5 weeks to get on top of the championship standings, and I still haven't done them yet. And I will do them. I will do them this week. I'm just extremely exhausted and overrun and stressed out, and just everything. It's just I don't even know why I'm stressed out. I just know that something is stressing me out. Vibes are stressing me out. Circumstances, surroundings, just vibes, just shit. Really, it's just stressing me out, and it's just causing me to like lose my fucking marbles. And yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun, but it is what it is. Halfway through the Tier 1 race here. Our motive for round 5 of the season 4 here on the PlayStation 5 is currently still Tynus in the house, who has nearly a 12-second lead over Guido Chris. Looks like we've got a stop-go penalty there being awarded to Lower 3000 for speeding in the pit lane. So he's obviously gone speeding in a little bit too quickly. Did you say you're naked, Andy? You're naked, Andy, says Bertone. What? No, I'm not. I am not naked. I can assure you of that. Yellow Army into the pits here at the end of lap 16. What on earth are you talking? What on earth are you saying? Oh my god. Anyway, looks like Cheese Monkey is now actually within 1.6 seconds of Kangi. So Cheese Monkey, I was mentioning earlier on how he was closing in on Guido Christ and Kangi. Obviously Guido Christ has pulled away quite considerably from Kangi, but Cheese Monkey definitely standing on the verge of a potential podium here. Haha, knackered. Oh, you meant knackered, mate. I am absolutely knackered. Yeah, literally. I mean, I've said it. It's just I've got nothing. I might sound a bit more lively for Tier 1 than Tier 2, and the reason for that is actually because I had a coffee in the break. I shouldn't have had one. I had a coffee before Tier 2 and I had a coffee in the mid-session interval, so I basically had 2 coffees in the space of an hour. So I should not be this lively. This is all false. All of this talkative, all of this like hyper energetic BS is all exactly that. It is BS. It's literally just an absolute farce, because I am so tired right now. As Cheese Monkey is close, is actually putting more pressure here on Kangi coming into the first chicane. Coffee don't work, says Tony Tiro. I beg to differ. Coffee is a magical potion which has magical powers, and it does genuinely actually turn you into... It can turn somebody who's got zero energy and zero motivation into somebody who actually sounds like a reasonably intelligent and articulate human being. And that is actually true. Anybody who's addicted to caffeine will be able to testify to that. It does have magical powers, and it does actually do something quite unbelievable. And until you get addicted to caffeine, you won't understand it. But if you ever pick up a caffeine addiction, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It looks like we have actually lost a driver here from this Tier 1 race. I'm just going to have a quick little look on the stream and try and figure out who it might be. Because it was actually one of the front runners, I think, by the looks of it. It's Epiphany. So Epiphany is disconnected again for the second time here tonight. The first time he got lucky, it was before the race, but oh no, he's just, oh, what a shame. So Epiphany out of the race here. Oh god. And that is absolutely gutting there for him. Totally Zero says coffee don't work. You're lying. You are just lying. Gertian says I've seen Janssen drink coffee during 100% races. It works. I once drove a 24-hour race on Project Cars 2, or around the Nordschleife actually. As we see Cheese Monkey into the pits, and so is Epiphany. But yeah, I once drove a 24-hour race around the Nordschleife. It was a charity race for cancer research. Essentially on Project Cars 2, if you're not at the wheel, you can put the AI in the car, so the AI can drive the car for you, because there's no driver changes on Project Cars 2 on the console, or in fact any game on the console officially, although you can do it on ACC on the PS5, so I'm led to believe. I've seen it done. But yeah, on Project Cars 2 you can't actually driver change, so basically a 24-hour race means you're on your own. Now obviously I didn't do the full 24 hours because I'm not completely and utterly balmy, but I did do about 17 or 18 hours, and I had Pro Plus, like Spur Time saying coffee and Pro Plus work. I had a stack of Pro Plus. I must have gone through about 12 of them over the course of the 24 hours. I wasn't at the wheel the whole time. I did have a break in between. We started the race at 8 PM and then I drove from about 8 PM until about 11, then stopped, had a pizza, then carried on from about 12 to about 3. And then what happened was there were a couple of people disconnected, and the announcement came through that we were going to restart the race at 8 AM when people were awake, because a lot of people were asleep during the night. So obviously if we restarted the race when people were asleep, people would miss out. So we all agreed to restart the race at 8 AM. So I thought, well, I'm not going to waste my time sat at the wheel driving between 3 AM and 8 AM and then miss out on sleep, and then the other guys are going to get some sleep and essentially have an advantage over me. Because if I were to sort of carry on and drive through the whole thing, I would just end up being completely screwed for the next day. So I thought, right, 3 AM, let's bail, let's get some sleep in. So I slept from about 3 AM to about 7:30, got up again, another couple of Pro Pluses, got on the wheel, drove from 8 AM that morning all the way through until 5:30 that evening. 9.5 hours at the stint, at the wheel, non-stop, 9.5 hour stint. I must have gone through about 8 Pro Pluses during those 9.5 hours. I was just, I don't know what was keeping me alive at that point. And then yeah, eventually I had to throw in a towel because I just could not take any more. And yeah, ended up coming second in that race actually. I think there were about 13 or 14 people did it. Yeah, came second. Quite happy, but saying that, I should have won, because the dude who actually won the race managed to benefit from the restart. If it hadn't been for the fact that we restarted at 8 AM that morning, I would have actually won that race. So I feel robbed in a sense, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's for charity. It doesn't really matter. It's charity. It's not about who wins. It's the taking part that counts. Mary Louise, nonetheless, out of the pits here as we begin lap 20. And Tynus in the house is still your race leader at this stage. But yeah, mad times. Honestly, mad times. 3 hours endurance max I had, says Totally Zero. Gertian says, I never did endurance, should do it once. Project Cars 2 definitely has the best atmosphere for endurance. Yeah, it has the best atmosphere, but the means probably isn't so great, because obviously you can't, what's the word? You can't do driver swaps. Obviously Project Cars 2, it's 2017, isn't it? You know, that stuff wasn't even being thought about at that point. The stuff that ACC's got, ACC's constantly evolving. Project Cars 2 got left in the past. It never got developed. If Project Cars 2 had been developed, if Slightly Mad Studios had made even the slightest bit of effort with it, I reckon it probably would have ended up being like ACC, but instead they left it hanging out to dry for God knows what reason. They thought, you know what, let's just leave it here. And I really don't know why they did that, to be honest, but ultimately it cost the whole company, didn't it? I mean, where are they now? They don't exist anymore. So Andrew nonetheless here down the inside of Mary Louise into 7th even, moving up a position. Capriga into the pits here he ended up 20, but Mary Louise here obviously losing out to Andrew now in 7th place. The top 5, or the top 4 now, because obviously Capriga's into the pits. Top 4. What am I talking about? I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Top 4 still yet to pit in this race. Yeah, top 4 still yet to come in. Everybody else now has done a mandatory pit. Oh, besides Epiphany, who's rejoined the session. Fair play, Epiphany. Good to see you back in the session. I think his pit stop's now been voided, so he's going to have to now come in and do it all over again, which is really very unfortunate there for him. Andrew now extending his gap to Meridor. He's just over a second between those two. But Epiphany, good to see him back in. Obviously, you know, sometimes you see drivers disconnect and they throw in a towel, but Epiphany said, no, I'm not done. I want a bit more of this. I want to come back. I want to enjoy some track time. And yeah, you've got to respect that. You've got to rate that, because ultimately he wants to be out there. He wants to do something for the next 20 minutes. And yeah, fair play to him. Good man. Guido Christo into the pits here at lap 21. Pits from second. Obviously, he's in a bit of a battle with Kangi, so that one could be interesting. Can Kangi get the overcut? Is Guido Chris going to hold on once all is said and done with the pit stop? So I imagine they're both going to be full. Well, they're not going to be half tanking it now. They've gone well beyond the halfway mark. They're both full tanking. Let's face it. So it's going to be interesting to see where they come out in relation to each other. Gertian says we should do a charity race for Andy so he can buy coffee and Pro Plus. Oh mate, don't worry, I'm more than capable of affording coffee and Pro Plus, do not fear. It's actually quite a cheap addiction. As far as addictions go, it's one of the cheaper ones. Caffeine does not cost much, coffee does not cost much. There are far worse addictions to have than caffeine. You know, it's hardly cocaine, is it? But Guido Christ here, off and away nonetheless. So he's now done his pit stop. That just now leaves the top three, Tynus Kangi and Robe still to come in. And after this, go drink milk, sleep, wake up, eat and do standings. Yeah, we can all dream, can't we, mate? No, I need to do the standings. I really need to do the standings. I need to do them. I need to do them tomorrow morning, really, because I'm working tomorrow on the late shift. Thank God I'm doing the late shift, because I don't have to get up first thing in the morning. But Jesus Christ, it's just going to be, oh, it's chaos right now. My life's chaos. Again, I do not sleep anymore. It's just constant stress, constant panic. Oh, I just don't know what to do with myself. I really fucking don't. It's just all over the place. And again, this is why I'm just always exhausted, because ultimately I just don't sleep anymore. Gambling is the most expensive addiction. Yep. I've done pretty much all the addictions. I've never done alcohol addiction, albeit I had a problem with alcohol in the sense that I had to stop drinking it because it just I was a nightmare on it. But I never actually had an addiction to alcohol. Gambling I've had a problem with. Oh God, I can't really go into it on a stream. It's just not something I can really talk about for a few different reasons. But yeah, no, I spent hundreds, sometimes thousands, on gambling addictions of various sorts. Some of them games, some not generally, not events, not sporting events, not backing stuff. It's usually games, online games, that sort of thing. That's been my kryptonite with gambling. A few different things, but yeah, I've been a nightmare for my entire adult life. But as of sort of the last year or so, I've really made a big concerted effort. I mean, to be fair, I started kind of turning it around about sort of four or so years ago, and then in the last year I've properly gone full. Like, there were a few little silly little things that were still hanging around in my life until about a year ago, but now that it's pretty much like I try and live like a normal human being nowadays. I try and just live straight and clean and just don't do any shit anymore. Easiest way to be. You got nothing to worry about, nothing to hide, nothing to drag you down, no reasons to call in sick to work or be, doing stupid, irresponsible stuff. You can be there for your family, you can be somebody that's relied on. There's just things that make you a human being, basically, I guess. You lost 200 and you gained 500. I mean, sounds like you did a good job there. Yeah, totally zero. I know you're a young lad. Definitely never gamble, because it's a slippery slope. You know, you feel like you've got control of it, and then all of a sudden you've lost basically your life savings. And this happened to me when I was 18 years old, before I'd even done anything really, before I'd even scratched the surface on my other problems. This was a sign of things to come. I went through my entire savings. I had a bank account which had been basically saved for me since I was a young kid, and I went through the whole lot in about a month. Basically gambled it all on an online game. This is when I was 18, and that was just a sign of things to come. That was just the start of it. There was so much more to come after that. That was, yeah, not my finest moment. Just be smart and put your money where your sense is. If you've got sense. If you haven't, then it's probably not the best idea. So this has turned into a life story and a rambling lecture there from the dude who you probably think is just a guy who commentates on pretend car racing. And yeah, essentially, for all intents and purposes, that's what I am. But I'm now officially a guide and a teacher and a wise old man at the age of 25. I've been there, done. No, I haven't. Not really. No. But yeah, plenty of people who know a lot more than me and who could probably give you a lot more lessons than me. But I'm just saying, I'm speaking my truth. That's all it is. And this is utter rambling. This is just complete and utter rambling at this point. I'm not looking at the race. I'm not looking at the gaps. I'm just rambling. What am I doing? Gambling, drugs, alcohol, don't do it, says Guardian. Yep. Got it in one there, mate. Got it in one. And when you had alcohol, don't drive. Yeah. Well, that's one way to get a manslaughter charge. But yeah. I'm not old, but it's dumb. It is indeed. Yes. Oh, good, Chris there, getting it wrong. Coming into Lesmo 2, as he was just behind Raki. Oh, and he's off the track. And Andrew's going to be coming up on the scene here, as Andrew got ahead of him. I think he might have done. Yep, Andrew moves through up into P5. Guido Christer was lapping Raki as he came around. But he's lost the position there, so Andrew there, as I said, up into 5th. Is Mary Louise coming up on Guido Christer? I think Guido Christer's got it going in front of Mary Louise. In fact, Mary Louise has actually lost time, I think. Has he? Let me just have a look. No, Mary Louise is now only 4 seconds behind Guido Christer. Guido Christer there, still in P6. Mary Louise has actually got Capriglia now closing on him. The gap is under 2 seconds between Mary Louise and Capriglia. So that's one that we've got to keep our eyes on here. Totally Zero says in the comments, I'm planning to get Assetto Corsa for PC so I can mod it and have a Sunday drive, not Competizione. I do Sunday drives in my own car, says Guardian. Yeah, I thought came, says Totally Zero. What's that? What are you thinking of? In the meantime, we're here on lap 27 of round 5 for the Tier 1s for the GT3 Championship here at Motor for Season 4. It's currently still Tynus leading the way, still yet to pit. He's got a nearly, well over a 20-second lead over Kangi. It's been another dominant performance here from Tynus in the house. After tonight, it'll be 5 wins from 5 races. Is he going to take all 8 wins this season? Surely, after tonight, he's got to be thinking about it with only 3 rounds left. He's got to be thinking about potentially being the first driver ever at Motive in the ACC leagues to take a whitewash of race victories. Kangi is coming into the pits here at the end of lap 27. So he should come out well ahead of Robe, you would think, in P2. He's got a huge gap to him at the moment, 15 seconds between them. So Kangi there now after Jackson on his way once again. But Tynus still leading the race here on lap 28 and coming in towards the closing stages of this round 5 for the Tier 1s here at Moto on ACC here for the GT3 Championship. Guardian says, one bit of advice: when you feel at your lowest because of things that happen, don't test your car. Yeah, that just sounds, yeah, if you're in any sort of vulnerable position, probably it's not a good idea. Totally Zero asks, Andy, night races anytime? Yeah, Indy Road Course, I'm thinking is going to be. Where is Diego, says Gay? Yeah, I wondered the same thing. I DM'd him earlier actually because I noticed he hadn't confirmed. He's actually in Tier 2, but well, I don't know. I mean, he said he wanted to race in Tier 2. I wanted to promote him to Tier 1 permanently for the rest of the season, but he said he wanted to do Tier 2 because his friends are in Tier 2. He wanted to complete the championship, but obviously wasn't here last week at Misano, and he's now missed this week as well, so he could have spurred his opportunity to get in a promotion spot, which it would not be ideal considering the fact that he's waived his opportunity to get promoted to Tier 1. But yeah, I don't know what happened to him this week. I don't know if he'll respond to my DM. I did message him, but yeah, we'll have to see. And rain, Totally Zero says, people want a wet race, we can put some wet races in. I generally don't do wet races because I remember too many situations where people have just kind of decided not to bother when it's rain, when there's been rain. Like, so many people just rage and just like, oh no, I don't want to do it because it's wet. You generally find that people genuinely, they just don't race because it's wet, and I know it's pathetic. I'm thinking maybe implementing changeable conditions in future so that it's not like set weather, so it can be a bit more unpredictable, and then including rain in the air, so you don't know exactly what the service settings are going to be. They could vary, so obviously that means you'd have to do a fair bit of practice just to, throughout the week, just so that you can get an idea of what the conditions might be. But having a bit of variance, I think, might help with the excitement, the spectacle, and I think some of the interest in the races as well. Maybe some changeable conditions for next season, that would be, I'm thinking, potentially. Yeah, we do that on F1, so F1 is dynamic, so anything can happen at any time. It's completely random weather. Yeah, I think it'd be cool if we had the same thing on here. In the meantime, Guido Christ is really in Andrew. Obviously we saw Guido Christ making a mistake actually through this section of the track a few laps ago. The gap has just gone up a little bit. It was 1.4 apparently, and it's now looking considerably more than that. You can see there, that's way more than 1.4 seconds. That's nearly 3 seconds between them. As they come through the checkpoint, it is just over 3 seconds now between Andrew and Guido Christ. So yeah, Andrew looking a bit more comfortable here. I'm quite okay in the rain, says Gertin. Capriga still knocking on the door of Mary Louise at this point, just over a second between those. As you can see them going into the Parabolica at this point. Be fast in the rain, says Totally Zero. Oh, Gertin's good in the rain. Yeah, I've seen him in the rain on F1. Very, very solid pair of hands in the wet conditions. Titus is into the pits, so race leader coming in here at the end of lap 31. It was the second last opportunity that he would have had to make that pit stop. It was either going to be this lap or the next lap. So Tinus in the house, now in the pits. Robo running in second place, will be coming round in due course, but Tinus will come in and he'll come out with a big lead as well. He had over 25 seconds over Kangi when Kangi came in. I'm expecting the gap probably to be quite similar to that now. It wouldn't be too dissimilar. So Tinus is now off and away. Kangi's coming into Ascari. So Tinus in the house here, starting the penultimate lap of the race with a very, very comfortable margin right now, as he's just coming off the limiter at this point. Kangi coming down the back straight, but Tinus off the limiter and off and away once again. And Kangi will be coming into the final corner in a second. So Robe now off and away, off of the limiter and down to the end of the pit lane. So Robe came in as well, so that's now everybody barring Epiphany, who got disconnected. I don't know whether he had done his pit stop before he disconnected. It might be a glitch there, obviously, because he disconnected. It's undone his pit stop, so I don't quite know. But fair play to him for jumping back in anyway. Yeah, you've got to rate that. We have just lost another driver, so I'm just going to look and see who it is. Just trying to work out who we'd lost. Oh, it's Ludo. Ludo's left the session, so Ludo there deciding to retire with only a lap to go. And yeah, he'll be taking no further part in this one. Tinus in the house coming through Ascari, so he is momentarily going to be starting his final lap of the race. And his gap to Kangi is pretty big, you got to say. You can see there Kangi coming into the bridge. Sorry guys, I'm really tired. The racing's been good tonight, and the comments have been keeping me going, but I'm really tired. I'm exhausted. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm completely and utterly shattered. It's Tinus coming over the line here to start lap 33. This will be the final lap of the race. So we've got 13 of you currently watching the stream. Guys, if you've been enjoying the action, please do smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to get involved, and go to www.motiveracing.com if you want to join the PS5 GT3 Championship. Definitely join us on our Discord server. As Epiphany's back in the pits, so he is now doing his pit stop on the final lap of the race at the final time of asking. Tinus here coming out of the De La Rocha chicane down towards Lesmo 1. Andy, you need to sleep more, says Jill Silver, but I can't because I suffer from chronic stress and I can't sleep at night. When I try to have naps in the afternoon and I just can't sleep. I can't sleep. I take 5 HTP tablets to try and calm me down. I just can't. My brain says no. Tinus in the house though, coming into Ascari for the final time, and what a job it's been from him. He's been absolutely on another level here tonight, as PS Fids has picked up a drive-through penalty on the final lap of the race. So he's done one too many track limits there, and unfortunately he won't be able to serve that drive-through, so he's going to get a huge penalty added onto his race finishing time. But Tinus in the house coming into the Parabolica here. He's about to finish the race here at Monza for round 5 of season 4 on the PlayStation 5 for the GT3 Championship here at Motive Racing. Tinus in the house, I flash the lights. It's going to be 5 from 5 here. What a season he's having, and he's continuing his perfect record. He's now only 3 races away, or 3 race wins away from taking 8 out of 8, and it would be a perfect season, but still a long way to go. But Tinus in the house taking another step closer to what is looking like an inevitable championship winning season. Kangi coming out of the Parabolica is going to take home 2nd place here. A flash of lights for my man in the number 11 Bentley as he comes over the line, and a valiant 2nd place. A very good performance here. Cheese Monkey, what a job racing as a late standing reserve. Only found out he'd be driving yesterday, and on his return to Tier 1, the top level here at Motive, he's going to flash his lights and he's going to take a 3rd place finish here. Well, welcome back, Cheese Monkey. It's good to have you back on the track. He takes 3rd ahead of Robe, who comes over to take 4th place here in the end. Andrew comes over to finish in 5th ahead of Guido Christ, who takes 6th place. Mary Louise coming into the Parabolica. Raki's finished the race a lap down in 10th place. PS Foods has finished 2 laps down in 13th. Epiphany's already finished in 14th, also 2 laps down. Mary Louise coming up towards the line will be 7th place in this race, just ahead of Caprigia, who will take 8th. Yellow Army will be the last driver to finish on the lead lap. He's just coming through Ascari. Kev Sim has finished the race a lap down in 11th. Lowell 3000 will be the next driver to come over the line. He's just ahead of Yellow Army actually, so you get Lowell 3000 a lap down, will finish in 12th. And Yellow Army, as we said before, is the last driver on the lead lap, as these guys coming out onto the start finish straight now. So Lowell 3000 here to bring it home in P12. And there is Yellow Army, the last driver on the lead lap, as we said. 16 of you currently watching the stream. Guys, if you did enjoy tonight, please do smash the like button. Show your appreciation for the drivers out on the track. What a show they put on. Tinus, Kangi and Cheese Monkey, your top 3. But it feels silly, and no offence to Kangi or Cheese Monkey, but I can't really mention them in the same breath as Tinus there. Tinus was unstoppable in that one. He was on another level. on another planet there with Tinus in the house. A huge congratulations to him on taking his 5th win from 5 races this season. Who can stop him? I mean, it goes over to the next one to see if anybody can stop Tinus from taking a perfect season here. He's taken 5 out of 5, and I wouldn't bet against him taking the next 3 either in the next 3 races of this season. Obviously it's only an 8-round season, so we're getting close to a possible perfect season from Tinus. But make sure you do this next week, guys. We'll be racing at Donington for the first time on a Sunday in the GT3 Championship here at Motive, live at the same time as usual for Tier 2 at 7 PM with Tier 1 at 8:30. Week after that we'll be at Silverstone for the penultimate round. Final race of the season will be at Indianapolis at night time as well for that one, so looking forward to that. So yeah, plenty of racing still to go. I'm going to try and get some sleep. Probably going to fail. I'm probably going to be in an even worse state tomorrow, but that's life. Thanks everybody once again. We'll see you soon. Take it easy, and thanks everybody for the comments. Good night.